Mark opened a box of vacuum-packed dehydrated feces. He poured them into a bucket, added water, and stirred. One spoonful at a time. He buried them in the soil. He planted potatoes on top. And finally, watered the soil. 2 weeks later, he successfully grew green plants. And this was his hope for survival. Because at that moment, Mark was on the harsh, desolate surface of Mars. 2 months ago, a Mars exploration team encountered a sudden superstorm. As they were evacuating, astronaut Mark was struck by a piece of debris. The system showed that his spacesuit had been damaged. In this situation, he had no hope of surviving. For the sake of the team's well-being, Captain Lewis abandoned the rescue of Mark. He led the remaining crew members in evacuating Mars. After receiving the disastrous news, NASA announced the catastrophe to the media, declaring that Mark had died. But no one expected that Mark on Mars had somehow survived, and the base they built. However, the communications of the base had failed. He lost all contact with the outside world. The next Mars exploration mission wouldn't be until 4 years later. He had to survive until then to be rescued. His biggest challenge at the moment was food supplies. So he decided to try growing plants on Mars. He first collected all the feces from his teammates during their time on Mars. He set up a simple solar greenhouse. He brought in large amounts of Martian soil from outside and planted seeds into the soil. But the biggest thing he lacked was water. So he collected the air on Mars. Using metal, he created hydrogen. He mixed the two and ignited them, and finally succeeded in producing water. Finally, on the 54th Martian day, a miracle occurred. Mark successfully grew potato seedlings. This was the first sign of greenery on this planet. Mark no longer had to worry about food. His life was slowly improving. He maintained an optimistic attitude. He believed that he could create a miracle. However, an accident happened. A crack in the pressure relief chamber caused a violent explosion. Unfortunately, the potatoes he had grown were completely exposed to the Martian night, with temperatures as low as -60 degrees. And in an instant, all of them perished. The next day, Mark used plastic sheets to patch the cracks in the base, and the base resumed its operations. But the damaged greenhouse was no longer usable for planting. Mark fell into despair.